Nobody cares that you are burning out. Nobody cares that you're burnt out. Nobody cares that you feel that way. Oh, okay. Yeah, probably your friends, your family, your relatives. Even if you gave me up a call and said, "Hey, Dr. Jarrett, I'm burnt out," I actually would care. But the people you think that should care don't care at all. And we'll talk about that when we come back.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Yeah, burnout is definitely something that is real. It's real in your job. Sometimes it's real within your life. People often have the symptoms and feelings of burnout. They may not want to show up at their job. They don't find the same satisfaction. It can lead down the road to depression. It can lead down the road to lots of other sources of unhappiness. So we don't look at the success. We don't look at the positive things that can come about. But today we're going to talk about burnout and how it affects you, simple solutions in which you can use in order to combat burnout, and why the people that should care about you burning out don't. And we'll get into the meat of our discussion right after we thank our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
This is Super Bowl champion Mike Logan, and you are listening to Licensed to Live.
A lot of times people have a lot of negative thoughts going on in their head. I'm not good enough. I didn't work hard enough. I don't deserve this. And the use of affirmations is one strategy that I tend to use day by day. And I've been doing this for years. And you guys know I've written a book, License to Live, Daily Affirmations to Rebuild Your Life. But even if you're not really sure about affirmations, I want you to sign up and get a 30-day free affirmations ebook. It shows you how to use the affirmations, and it gives you a 30-day guide. So you have affirmations to rebuild some positivity in your life. So you can get your free ebook, The Power of Positive Affirmations for Success and Happiness, written by me, Dr. Jarrett Patton, Simply go to coaching.drjarrettfree.com/affirmations-ebook. And rather than spelling all of that out, we will simply put the link for your free copy in the show notes. Take advantage today. Now, back to burnout. It is kind of a depressing topic, and probably most of us have experienced some part of burnout one way or another. And oftentimes these struggles with burnout start around our careers as clinicians or in healthcare. Now, we know no matter what is going on in the world, the healthcare system will continue to roll. And even as it's bursting at its seams, trying to contain and handle all of this pandemic that we have going on, it's still rolling. And that means if you're in healthcare, you are working, you're working hard, you may be working without proper PPE. It's been harder than it ever has been. And so when you put a pandemic on top of the struggles to maintaining work-life balance, looking at your responsibilities outside of what you do and looking at your family, your friends, your hobbies, the things that you like to spend your time with, you don't have that. Other factors come into play is simply directly related to how you work in your job. I mean, the use of the EHR, that in and of itself can be frustrating. And for those of you who are transitioning into maybe a new EHR, that just makes matters even worse. Time becomes of the essence. Time becomes another factor. We feel like we're constantly under pressure. We're constantly trying to meet the deadlines or meet the RVU budgets or meet something that uses up more time. And in fact, we don't have enough time to do the things that we're supposed to do. So this leads us to a completely chaotic environment, in which healthcare can be a chaotic environment pretty often. And certainly you could say that right now in the midst of a pandemic, it's even more chaotic, which gives you a low control of pace. You just don't have any control over anything in your work life. So burnout can come about in a variety of ways. Lots of people have written on it, spoken about it, and have tools and resources. But understanding the fact that you are burning out or you're already burned out, realize there's a very important people who should be concerned with your burnout that aren't. Unfortunately, a lot of times it comes down to some level of administrative changes. And maybe at a board level, and this is something I saw when I sat on the board of directors of a large hospital system in Pennsylvania. If someone would quit or someone would walk away, regardless of how great their clinical acumen, perhaps their teaching abilities, their writing abilities, their research abilities, all of these things that made this individual a standout on the medical staff, doesn't matter when it gets to the end of the day. If they're burnt out and they're leaving, if they're burnt out and they're unhappy, even if they're burnt out and not doing their job up to their best capabilities, at some of the highest levels, people simply don't care. They don't care because all the numbers look the same on a spreadsheet. It's rolled up into how many people are out there seeing patients, how many patients are being seen. And at a certain level, even though you may have great experience with the media or research or writing articles or books or teaching, let alone being a great physician, sometimes it doesn't matter, because when one goes off that chart, another one comes in. And so the recruitment and retention process continues to spin its wheels. So essentially the problem becomes, oh, we lost the doc. Oh, let's get another doc. And they'll go through the recruitment process and bring another one on. The system does not skip a beat, even though there will be so many more intangible losses if you remain unhappy, if you remain burnt out, if you stay in that same place. So the people that should be thinking about you the most your bosses, your administrators, your wellness officers, they sometimes may not be able to put their money where their mouth is. There are some simple solutions to burnout, but most often they're not implemented. And these have been studied time and time and time again. I mean, it starts by just if someone doesn't know that there's a problem or low morale or burnout is rising on a staff, well, you can always do some surveys. And guess what? People will generally tell you what they're not happy about. They'll give you plenty of information about what makes them unhappy or ineffective in their job. Sometimes it falls on deaf ears. But even though those surveys may take out a long time, do yourself the favor and fill them out if they come your way. Now, this is where you step in. Besides filling out an anonymous survey, you should think about having some serious conversations with some of your leadership because you don't have to remain unhappy. You don't have to remain burning out. You could ask for some things that could make your life different. I mean, a lot of us had to switch the way we conducted business during the pandemic. We may have had to work from home a little bit more. We certainly used telemedicine a whole lot more during this time. So there may be some things in your schedule that you could say, hey, I could cover Tuesdays from telehealth. I could see lots of sick visits and simple complaints simply if I didn't have to commute 45 minutes into work. That would improve the quality of my life. And you still get to do something you love. You could talk to your bosses, your administrators about flexing out your schedule. Hey, now's the time to say, maybe a full-time job isn't what I need right now. Maybe I need a part-time job, and maybe I just need to scale back some of my hours or make a more flexible schedule. And in doing so, yeah, I may lose some income, but that income will be offset by your happiness, by your ability to have more control in your life. In fact, that happiness is worth way more than the 10% or the 20% of salary that you may give up. So consider talking around flexing your schedule or seeing if there's some way you can go part-time or even job share a role with someone else, one of your colleagues that are also suffering and feeling burned out and don't know what to do because they feel like they don't have any power. Well, another well-studied intervention of burnout is just giving people more time to complete what they do. Well, good luck with that argument, although it's been well defined in the literature. People just want to take less time, particularly around patient encounter. So that may not be the most effective way to talk about this. However, if you start to use the language that maybe the administrators use, a little bit of business terms, if you're talking about some other things, you may be able to make a financial case how giving you more time can actually help you create better quality measures, which may lead to some other type of reimbursement issue. On the same line, hey, why not talk about EHR entry? Now, EHR entry has been used in a variety of ways. People will hire scribes, and you see scribes being used more and more in practice. Surgeons have been using scribe for many years in their industry. And perhaps that could be something that could be used for other people because scribes cost money. People can't really equate. You have to make that argument again and say, well, this scribe is going to cost me, the institution $40,000 a year. How can you make up for that $40,000? And you probably could do things a little bit differently if somebody else was handling your data entry on the EHR side. You actually could focus on some other things that could generate more revenue or perhaps even see more patients. EHR entry or scribes, crucial. And if you're struggling with that, I mean, I know there's so many of you guys out there that don't even know how to type very well. And you're forced to sit down at these computers for so many hours in a day, getting these records typed and filed away. Even again, if it comes against your salary, maybe you would be willing to pay for half of that person. And then it doesn't end up being that big of a financial decision. Again, the happiness you will gain will way outweigh what you have to give up as far as finances and resource. The bottom line around burnout is that, well, it happens to a lot of us at different parts of our life. And it's up to us to find something that makes us happy, something that we feel like we're valued, something that makes your life more happy in general. And a lot of times, unfortunately, administrators may not hear those cries. So for all of you guys that are still banging it out in the ICUs, the ERs, the front lines that are bursting at the seams, know that you do have some power. You do have some choice in this situation. You do not have to stay in an unhappy position. A lot of times you could just leave institutions, but you may just leave one situation for another. It's not always going to be greener on the other side. You may have to take some of these matters in your own hands. And a lot of times we just are nice people. We just want to please people. We just want to do the right thing. And as a result, we may suffer because we may give and give and give and not receive anything on the back end in return. So I know it's a struggle out there, folks. If you ever needed to talk this out or understand how you may gain greater confidence, gain greater credibility, gain some power back in this situation, hey, reach out, talk to me at timewithdrjarrett.com, and we will make sure we start to develop that plan for you. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, disengaged, disgruntled, dissatisfied, disenfranchised with their career, please invite them along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe. Subscribe is the key word here, to License to Live. And I always appreciate the feedback. And in fact, on one of the upcoming episodes, I'm going to have to give some of the feedback that we have been getting on the show. But I use that feedback and take it very seriously so that I can produce the best show that gives you the most value in your life. And make sure you follow me on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time in between episodes there, just giving my thoughts and commentary on a few things. It's a great place to engage and get to know each other. And until then, we will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.